episode was huge for me. It's huge for everybody. It was a huge undertaking. And the one person I wanted by my side, being as scared as I was, but couldn't show it, was my husband, Salim Akil. And I'm so happy to have had that experience with him. I had been asking him for 3 years to direct. It's like I'm begging my husband, so he finally agreed to do it.
I'm supposed to be marrying for money now, to be there for him through sickness and in health until death do us part.
You know, you can only say no to your wife so many times. I mean, she told me what she wanted to do, and we had been wanting to work together for a while, but I wasn't really clear on how to manipulate the 4-camera show to my advantage. And so, you know, I said, well, hey, look, I'll do it if we can sort of shoot it 1 camera. And she said yes. And it was on from then, you know, so it was great. Most forms of entertainment require a certain amount of authenticity. And I think, especially with a show like Girlfriends, that when you have these drama scenes, you want to sort of be in the person's face. You want to be able to see their eyes. You want to be able to see their soul. So a lot of times in 4-camera, you're not able to do that because you're shooting from so far back. With single camera, you can just do things without words and emote feelings. It's a better paintbrush for me. I'm able to paint a lot of different colors, textures. I just prefer it. We have a rule, you know, no work at home. In general, I think it's really helpful because I know exactly what she wants and she knows what I want, and we're able to collaborate in a way that I think most people can't, because it's sort of intuitive in a way.
That was so special, to do this big episode, this really, if you think, like my dream of having a 1-camera opportunity and doing it with my husband. He did a fantastic job.
I love you, Tony Childs.
No, you love Mrs. Garrett. Salim is one of my favorite Girlfriends directors. He's a solid director, and he cares about the moments and an actor giving moments opposed to performances.
We're similar. Maybe that's why Mara picked me, because I kind of remind her of her husband a little bit. But he does most of our beginning and ending episodes where they kind of shoot in a 1-camera format.
I think we were all, as the cast, really happy to have Salim. I mean, he is such a joy to work with, and his artistic integrity is on point, and the way he understands tone and an artist, and taking our little sitcom into the dramatic world, because he was more of a film background.
It was really exciting for me to have a director who really respected and cherished the craft of acting, and that allowed us to not work for a laugh and to just do it in a really real way. It sort of loosened things up and changed things a little bit. Plus, because Salim is Mara's husband, he wasn't afraid to go up against Mara. And Mara has a strong point of view, and Salim didn't care.
We saved all our pennies to shoot at this Malibu location for 3 days.
Ain't this place sharp? Yeah. Looks like our new branch bank up in Fresno.
I remember where they had staged all the equipment and the vans and the trailers and everything, and we were driving out to Malibu, and it was really early in the morning, and I guess it was a Shell gas station, and I think it was the S was missing, and it just said hell. And I just smiled because I was like, you know, this is going to be great. You know, it's a sign. This is going to be great. So, you know, it's like driving up. I felt like I was in an apocalypse now. You know, it just, you see all that equipment, you see all those toys, you see all those people, and it's all on you.
He did a fantastic job, so much so that when the executives were getting the feedback, they knew it was something special. And right then and there, we discussed a 1-hour finale.
It was exciting because it was validation of Mara's vision. One, the vision of having me participate in doing it. Two, that this show should have been a single-camera show in the first place. Three, that this was a special moment in the history of Girlfriends. And so I think that all of that determination from her and me, the cast and everyone, made the screen sparkle. So when someone says, hey, look, we're going to change our rule because this is special, it makes me look good, it makes Mara look good, it makes the cast look good. So we were like, yeah, that's a cool thing.
It was a deliberate decision to shake up their lives a little bit more, just to see what other stories were in there. It really unfolds if you kind of follow the characters' footsteps in life.
I do think that those 2 wedding episodes set a dark tone. That tone stayed until season 7. There was a lot of arguing, a lot of mean-spirited back and forth that was happening.
You can't be serious. As a heart attack.
And I knew that that's sort of where Mara wanted to go, sort of a more sophisticated adult feel. And if that came off a little edgier, a little darker, then so be it. But I just felt it was real. These are grown adult women, and so I wanted to see how they really felt.
Salim was not a typical sitcom director and doesn't have a sitcom point of view. And so I think even if the writing leaned sitcom, he pulled it back where Mara wanted it, which might have been more of the darker place. And maybe that was just sort of starting to show the underbelly of what was underneath these characters and their arcs and what was happening.
Hey, where's Alice?
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to hear about it. Because it's time to play Diva!
I thought, oh, it'd be funny to see Tony walk down the aisle with a really, substantially short man to demonstrate how important it was for her to get married before it's too late. And we had an open call session. We saw black men, white men, and Latino men. And we decided the best man will win. And it was Jason Pace.
I realized I was a little inappropriate about your height. I just want to apologize.
Thank you.
I'm sorry you're short. Sorry, that girl, see, it's just so easy.
It would have to be if you came up with it.
They had wonderful chemistry.
Because I'm one of those rare women who's honest, beautiful, and has a sparkling wit.
And it's very funny in the creative process. That was not my intention.
More like a half-wit.
Oh, you only say that because from down there you can only hear half of it.
But as you find this actor, you see something.
It's because I'm stuck under this awning that you call breasts.
Oh, please. You know you're mesmerized.
You're right, I am. You're gorgeous.
Oh, man. You had to wreck the flow with a compliment?
That's how Todd came to be. It wasn't my intention, but I'm glad that I was led there because it turned out to be great.
He was the best person for the job. Me personally, from a director standpoint, I thought it was great because I thought it was an opportunity to say things and do things that most people couldn't say and wouldn't say. Right now in comedy, I find that African American comedians and African American writers are able to say things about white folk that white folk can't say about black folk.
What the hell is this?
It's a card.
Yeah, with a picture of a black couple running across a field of something that looks a lot like cotton.
They're wild flowers, and what's your problem with it?
There are plenty of Valentine's Day cards. Why you want to choose a black one? Newsflash, you ain't black.
I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity because we can have this guy at some point say some of the things that white folk would like to say about black folk and be legitimate in saying it because he's married and in love with this African American woman.
Okay. Sucker. What you want? Huh? Or you want a little pickaninny? Aunt Jemima? Come on, Mr. Charlie, what you want?
What?
It's your fantasy, I'm just trying to fulfill it.
Tony, is this still about the card?
Well, sometimes controversy keeps them coming back, and that's my job, is to keep the numbers there. That's what we're supposed to do, and entertain them and engage the audience. And I hope that we make them laugh and think we're just hysterical. But if we're also engaging them in a way that keeps them talking about the show, that's the best publicity you can get for the show. So you may not like it or you may not agree with what's going on, but someone else can watch it and love what they're doing.
You're not the first white guy that I've dated. And a lot of the time it was pretty clear that they only wanted to be with me because they thought being with a black woman was exotic.
Black folk were pissed off.
You know, we've had to make some adjustments, too, what with Tony being black, Christian, tall, and all.
Mom, it's African American, and she's really not that much taller, and we're past that now, aren't we?
When you have a show that's sort of seen through African American eyes, you want everything to be positive. When I say you, I mean the audience. So the perfect choice would have been some handsome African American man.
Let's see. You're tall, you're black, and you chose stockbroking over basketball. Talk about your back career moves.
Probably more light-skinned. And he would have been the doctor and they would have got married. We had a short Jewish guy.
Welcome to my world.
People were pissed off. You know what I mean? Most people were pissed off. Some people, probably those who had short Jewish guys are like, no, this is cool, just wait, it'll play itself out, give it a chance. But that's what you want to do. You don't want to go the easy route. And you want to convince the audience that this is cool. And eventually, we convinced everybody that this is cool. So you found that most people were on Todd's side.
From the first moment I laid eyes on this woman, somewhere inside me knew that she was a keeper.
People loved that we showed this interracial couple. Some people hated it. But the point is they were all watching.
If you're not sort of shaking things up, then, what's the point?
I was very proud of the HIV arc that we did.
Todd wants me to get an HIV test. Isn't that some mess?
Well, isn't he going to have one too?
Yeah, but we're not talking about him. We're talking about me. For him to suggest that I get one, he must think I've got cooties.
We used it in Tony and Todd's relationship as they got to know each other, dealing with their trust issues, which is so funny to me about Tony and Todd. They do everything ass backwards.
You're the one that said marriage, so let's talk about it.
I don't want to talk about nothing. Now get!
Let's get married, but they never talked about religion. They never talked about having children. They never talked about their finances. They never talked about an HIV test, but God, let's get married.
I can't believe that you and Tony are discussing marriage. You haven't even been together as long as me and Ellis.
Sweetie, it's not about you.
I think that's why the HIV thing worked, because we never just stopped to do HIV. We just wrapped it around their lives.
We were dealing with really heavy things. Jill and I made magic with all of the heavy, gut-wrenching, dramatic acting that we were doing.
Tony, I don't want to upset you. I had to apologize. I let you down.
And you realize the biggest drama was not really about Tony and Todd as it much was about Tony and Joan. And we revisit that relationship quite a bit in Girlfriends.
But Tony, I love you. And you are my family.
The characters of Tony and Joan are polar opposites.
Even if I just have to peep through the shrubbery, please, sweetie, don't let me miss this day.
Tony is the ultimate realist.
Girl, you had me at absolutely gorgeous.
She says what's ever on her mind.
Racism is alive and well and living in that little Jewish boy.
She's able to articulate things in a way that most people would find offensive.
He's not rich. He's just Dr. Rich. I'm still going to have to work and fly commercial.
But really what most people are thinking.
Nothing's going right. I wanted my day to be perfect.
Everything could fall apart as long as you and I are standing together in front of God saying I do forever.
That's crazy talk.
Joan lives in a fantasy world.
He did call. I must have been out of range.
What? Where the hell are you going?
I'm going back to LA to talk to Ellis.
Oh, no, you're not.
When you have those two sort of characters and you put them in a situation where it's the ultimate fantasy and reality at the same time, a wedding, then it's going to become explosive.
To be honest, I really don't care about you right now. Today, I just want the luxury of thinking about me and my feelings.
Well, with Joan, all of her own insecurities about, I'm getting older, I'm not married, I really want to get married, it just manifested in a way, not that she doesn't love Tony, and not that she's not happy for Tony.
I always prided myself on being the perfect friend. I thought I had everybody beat at that, but I was so caught up in my own crap that I couldn't even be there for Tony.
Even though they're two women, it's almost a romantic comedy in a way, or a dramedy in a way. Is this friendship going to make it? And that is kind of this underlying heartbeat. We played a lot with Joan's jealousy of Tony in third season, because that would be true for Joan, we felt.
I'm happy for my friend. I am happy for my friend. I am happy for my friend. I'm happy for her. Okay, I'm happy for my friend. I'm happy for my friend. Oh, God.
Most of us are jealous of someone. It's actually a natural feeling, but in this country, it's been beat out of us that we should not be jealous. But it's an emotion, and it's a natural emotion. So I think most people can identify with being jealous of someone. Now, jealousy is okay if it motivates you to improve yourself or do something to improve your situation or get you up off your ass to, go accomplish whatever goal you want to go accomplish.
You are jealous.
Maya, don't go there.
No. I need to speak my mind or bitch slap her.
But when it gets bad, of course, is when people start to sort of sit in it and stew in it. And I think in that episode, that's what happened with Joan. She just sort of stewed in it and didn't really want to say to anyone except maybe for Ellis, and not completely. I'm jealous.
This joyous moment can be very hard for another friend, and I think that was relatable for the audience.
As a fan of Girlfriends, I can tell you this is what I like about the show. That in the midst of all the humor, and it's a funny show, Mara was able to, and continues to, explore topics and issues that most people wouldn't touch. HIV and AIDS, interracial relationships, intra-racial problems amongst black folk. The array of subjects that she's touched on, I think, makes this show much more than a comedy that's been on for 8 years.
Speaking of white, Antoinette Marie Childs, why didn't you tell me your fiancé was a Jewish boy?
How'd you find out?
I Googled him on my PC.
Jennifer Lewis and Isaac Hayes, you know, it's like you're in awe of them. When you get to work with these people, it's a pleasure, it's an honor, and you have to be present enough to be blessed by it. So I was just blessed by both of their presence.
That's very validating to know that you're drawing the talent from what you are doing and saying on the show.
It could not have been more perfect.
But now that I've met him, I can see Todd's a fine young man. He's short, though.
She explains so much.
Now that's all I need, is some therapy from a stank hole.
Jennifer Lewis is brilliant as her mother, and that explains so much of the heart that is underneath Tony.
I had heard so many stories about Jennifer Lewis, and I thought, okay, am I going to be able to handle this actress? When we met, she just totally disarmed me with charm, and I totally fell in love with her. I mean, Jennifer Lewis is sexy. I didn't try to direct her, as you know. I gave her some notes.
Little girl, I will slip, slide, and hide all up and through this place. I am a lioness. I will protect my cubs.
What are you going to do? It's like trying to tell Miles Davis how to play the horn.
Girl, a relationship ain't worth a lick unless someone's running out.
Isaac Hayes, he's just a cool cat. Very gracious, very spiritual.
Every morning of my life, when y'all thought I was going to work, I was just running out on your mama.
I always enjoy working with people who are legends. Isaac Hayes won an Oscar. He worked with Gordon Parks on Shaft. Shaft was the first African-American hero. So to work with the guy who came up in a time when people were sort of carving out a niche for us, you know what I mean? He worked with the guy who carved out a niche for me, Gordon Parks. The Soul Train line, although it is African-American specific, it has become an American cultural way of dancing. The thing I like about it is when someone says, okay, let's do a Soul Train line, right? What they're saying is, okay, it's time for everybody to show up. You can't hide. So you can get the shyest person or the most outgoing person in a Soul Train line, and everybody has to show up. And that's exactly what they did. And I think people enjoyed it because more than seeing it or hearing it, they felt it. That these women had been through something. They had watched all of this emotion take place.
That is one of my favorite images of the series. It was so nice to see those four friends happy, beautiful, in the celebratory moment. And for us, I think, it meant several things because the characters had gone through so much. And we, again, successfully got the audience to a good moment. We needed to give the audience a and we gave it to them at the very end.
I think the image of those four women celebrating after all that they have been through is a powerful image for women in general, but specifically for young African American women.
It just was great to bring the story to a good place, a happy moment, and to do this with my husband and to fulfill my original vision. So, the third season was a good season.